So Akeem also asked, what state do you guys plan to live in and why? We live in New York right now.
Right. I'm not,
He also asked if we want to get married, but I think we already answered that question.
Do you want to get married?
Let's just get married.
Right now we're in New York and we know we're in New York for a purpose. If I had my way, I would want to live somewhere that's like warm all year round.
You about to say Cali, aren't you?
I was thinking that, but Cali's corny.
They got earthquakes.
Right, earthquakes.
Yeah.
In diverse places.
In diverse places. I like the mountains. So here's the thing. I personally I would love to live in an area where my home is like in the outskirts, mountains, whatnot, and have my little farm and make my organic stuff. Just, But I want to be close enough to the city where I can commute.
Yeah, that's hard to find.
What's in Yonkers?
Is that what it kind of gonna be?
Maybe. But I think right now we're good with New York. But for me personally, I haven't traveled much outside of like going to school in Pennsylvania and then like going to the surrounding tri-state areas. So I haven't traveled much to have an idea of where. But when we do move, you'll be invited to the homewarming.
For sure.
Akeem asked, who is the breadwinner currently? We're not married, so technically we both are.
Right. And one thing I want to say about that, I feel like a lot of men feel like they need to make more than their significant others, or they need to make more than women. Honestly, if the amount of money you make is mattering in your relationship that heavily, you might want to check it. I'm sorry.
I think so.
Money shouldn't be the focal point of anything. I mean, if people are both ambitious, have head on their shoulders and are doing the right things and being financially stable and being financially smart, then any relationship can thrive. I mean,
right.
I'm not saying there won't be hard times, financially. That happens to everyone, but be smart. Like, just look for a person who's smart with their finances. She amazing with her finances.
I am. And he works in finance. So
you got it.
Once again, just match made in heaven, literally. Brandy asked, I think this is directed to me, how did you know this was the person you wanted to commit time and energy to? I think this is very similar to like how did you know he was the one?
Mm-hmm.
And for me, it was kind of instantaneously. Like I saw him, my spirit saw him, and I was like, yeah. So, and as we became friends, it became more and more clear because I started to understand during the intentional friendship portion, in a 5 to 6 month period, we spoke about everything from like childhood, family, upbringing, dreams, aspirations, past, 5-year goals, all of that. Like we got really deep, like, deepest, darkest secrets. We cried together. Like this was all even our friendship. We were very intentional. Okay, Brandy also asked, what are your favorite things about each other? Oh man, that's a long list. So let's stick to 3.
Ooh.
You can go.
She knows how to brighten up my day. 1. She's an amazing listener. And 3, great at giving feedback / criticism. Constructive criticism. Thank you. That's the word.
I literally just did that just now. My first favorite thing about you is your heart. You have a really genuine heart. Like you're very selfless. 2nd, you're very selfless, humble. I think my last favorite thing about you is that you match me so well. Like from quirkiness,
I'm surprised I ain't hit you like your first favorite thing.
I mean, I had to think of everything. I'm like, it's not really in order, but yeah, you really match me well.
Ooh.
This one is from Rulaiha. Rulaiha asked, at what point did you guys know you were in love? Did it feel different than previous love?
You take it off first.
So I actually remember the exact moment that I knew I was in love. I knew I loved him. but there was also a moment where I knew I was in love with him, and it was Thanksgiving Day. Because Thanksgiving is a very tricky holiday for me, because the traditional thing to do is to go to your family house and have this big spread of meals, and everyone comes together. You invite just the entire family. And I never really had that because my family's very, very small. We're kind of scattered. So Thanksgiving is normally hard for me because I always end up like bouncing from friend's house to friend's house, and for me family is really important. So not having like that big family celebration for Thanksgiving like I wanted normally makes me just a little bit down on Thanksgiving, and I expressed that to him on Thanksgiving Day. But before Thanksgiving, we had driven by Randall's Island, and they were having this it was Luminosity at the time, this light show that was going on, and I just just in passing, I'm like, oh, that looks so cool, that looks so cute, whatever, and I would love to go. Just passing, just thinking out loud, didn't really think anything of it. So it was Thanksgiving Day, we went out together. I was still, feeling a little bit down just because of the emotions of the day. But you made it really, really special. We went out for brunch.
Yeah, we did go out for brunch.
We went to the movies, and then on the train, he was like, I have one other, surprise, because I'm like, okay, cool. And he asked me to guess what it was. I'm like, I don't know. Because, I was still, up and down in spirits for that day. But on the train, he mentioned, remember when you looked over and you saw all those lights and you said that you wanted to go one day? And I was like, no way. And it's a small gesture, but I'm a little thug sometimes, but I definitely like shed a little tear because in that moment it meant a lot to me, because he already knew the emotional struggles I was having, like not being around family for Thanksgiving, and he showed that he put time into remembering what I said in passing, planning it, getting the tickets, and like scheduling the entire day. So he made it very, very special for me, and in that moment I saw him like as family, and that's when I knew like I fell in love with him, because I saw how much he truly, truly cared for me. So that's when I knew. It is definitely different from previous love. It is very different. There's so many different ways that people show love, and you experience love, and you'll experience one type of love and you think that this is it. But then you experience something else and you're like, wow, that clearly wasn't it, because this is it. And I can say that about my last relationship, because I did love the person I was with. I didn't feel like the love I was receiving was the love I deserved. This love is 100% different, and the difference stems from it being a love coming from God. I don't mean to sound religious, but someone cannot truly unconditionally love you if they haven't experienced God's love, because God is the only one that loves unconditionally. And when you're in relationship with God, God can impart that love in you, and by nature of that impartation, you're able to then pour out and love somebody how they're meant to be loved, which is how God loves us. And I experienced that love in this relationship. It's completely different because I was coming from a 2-year relationship, and it was just jacked up. Okay. it was very tumultuous, and coming from that and feeling like I was such a mess, and meeting someone so great, I did not feel like I deserved him, because he is so loving, so caring, so selfless, so understanding, so patient. And I'm coming into this relationship with a little bit of baggage from my last relationship, and there was nothing in me that felt like worthy of this type of love, because I'm like, it's so pure, like I feel like I'm about to mess it up. I really did, just because of how much I was coming from, and like it was a lot of hurt. So coming into this relationship, I didn't feel worthy of this love, because I know like what I've been through, no, when I sit down and think about that, the reason I know this love is different is because it's reflective of God's love. When you come into relationship with God, you know that it's nothing that you did to deserve the love of God. It's not works-based, it's faith-based. God does not love you because you did something to deserve to be loved. God loves you because he loves you unconditionally. When you are matched with someone who understands that type of love, it will never be a works-based love. My last relationship, I would have to go through tests and trials to prove that I truly love this person. Like he would actually like test me to say, okay, you know, I don't want to waste no time. Like, I want to make sure you love me. With him, there was no jumping through hoops. There was no testing. There was nothing. It was just freely given. And because it was freely given, I'm like, I don't feel like I deserve it. I don't. And that is the difference between a godly love and a worldly love, because a godly love will never ask you to perform for the love. It will never ask you to be good enough for me to love you. It will never ask you to do this X, Y, and Z, and then I will unconditionally love you. It will not put you through the ringer before you experience that unconditional love. It will come automatically off rip. And that's how I know this love is different, because it is a faith-based love. It's nothing I did to deserve how good you are. There's nothing I did to deserve you. Like, literally.
I know. Not like that. Not like that, people. But
there's nothing I did to deserve him, and because of that, I honor you. Because I know that, you know, that this love is so pure, and I know it's from God. It's the same. It's reflective of God. Because relationship stems from Christ loving the church. The original model of a relationship is Christ loving the church. Christ didn't wait for the church to get it together before he sacrificed himself. He sacrificed himself out of love, and we still trying to get it together. And the Bible says that, you know, a man is supposed to love his wife as Christ loved the church. That means that you love her before she even shows that she's deserving of love. That's what this love is. That's how I know it's completely different. That's how it's a godly love.
Yeah, with me, and Sam knows about this. I've told Sam, you know, at the beginning of our friendship, when we were single, we just, you know, first started being single. My birthday came up, and the one thing that, like, I wasn't sure is because, you know, a breakup had happened like literally a week before that. I was like, I didn't even know how I would spend my birthday. Like, I was ready to like go home after work, just like chill, be another birthday, be alright, you know. And she took the time to make it so special for me. I still got this.
You thought that was special.
I know, right? And you said that too. You said those same words. I remember. You said, "Oh, you think this is special?" And I'm like, "What else you got in store?" Like, come on. And I see a year later. Well, I thought that was special. I don't know what you gonna do next year, but it was so incredible because I didn't do anything, right? I didn't do anything for her to take the time. She took the time after work to. Nice tie, still love it, one of my favorite ties to this day. I still believe I have the birthday card, and she just took the time and she spent time with me. At that point on, I knew she was for real, where nothing that I didn't have to do anything to prove. There was no prerequisite for love and any treatment that I received, and that continued so much throughout our relationship. I really think the month of November, your birthday month, was really a changing for us because, you know, we spent so much time, you know, that's when we really started dating.
That's when he asked me to be his girlfriend officially.
But had some good food too. Thursday, and then her birthday was like following like 5 days, and you know, just, you know, doing it big, making sure that she felt appreciated and whatnot. But the one thing that Sam really impressed me with that, and I think it really got to me, is that I don't think there's anybody who's been more appreciative of the stuff that I do. And once again, I don't do things out of a position for praise or desire to like be praised about it, but the appreciation that comes from that, and there's very few people who match the outpouring that I do. I give a lot, and a lot of people who know me really well, they know that I give a lot, and so to have somebody give that back to me, I saw that, and so I knew what Thanksgiving was going to be like for her, and I was like, all right, you know what, I'll make this time. And I think that the reason why it's such a resonating moment with me too is because I saw her reaction. And
I shed a little tear.
Yeah, she had a little thug tear. She didn't want to cry, but she cried. But somebody so appreciative of the things that you do. And we, you know, that's the moment I knew, like, the month of November was great for me because I was like, I know I want her. Like, keep it real. Like, I knew. And even before that, I'm gonna be real. Like, I knew that, yeah, I wanted this. At the same time, you know, before when we were still friends, there wasn't, you know, there was a readiness that needed to happen and whatnot. But that love is different. The love that I experience, unconditional love, without having to say like, you owe me thing, or you know, I'm expecting this. And you know, I've dealt with that not in really relationships per se, but with just people in general, right? Expectations. The love that I wanted to show her was that, you know, she didn't have to do anything, because that's how I loved her. That, of course, to this day. You know,
to this day, like he would do things for me, and I'm like, no, I don't want you.
She be trying to block her blessings. I'm like, just let me do, and you be fine. Don't worry about it. But the love that I
don't worry about it, sweetheart.
Don't worry about it. That's that. She doesn't have to worry about anything because the love that I'm showing her is unconditional. It's not requiring anything back, and I love you to the moon and back. You know that.
Dang, just the moon, not Jupiter?
Oh my goodness, yo. Aggie. But I love you deeply, and I mean that because for me it's all about, you know, showing the love of Christ, and I knew that, but I also knew what I wanted in a relationship, and she showed those signs immediately in terms of how do I want to receive love. She's one of a kind. Nobody else has showered me down with love like that. Posted me up like that, just the gassing up, even just it just, she makes you feel incredible, and so that Thanksgiving moment was for me too. I loved the way that she reacted, and she embraced not only the things that I did, but she just embraced me, and that was something I appreciated. It's different like no other because it goes beyond just feelings. Yeah, it goes beyond emotions. It's when you can say, okay, the person has made the conscious decision to love. A lot of people think that love is associated with just an emotion and a feeling, and there can be feelings from love, but love is also a choice. It's a decision. And Sam has shown me that she's made a conscious decision to love me, and that wasn't different. So I've done that. I could talk on.
So I think that ties into the next question we have from Tony. Tony asked, what are you all's love language, and how have you had to compromise if you did? So this is another thing we did during the friendship phase. We took the 5 love languages quiz. I know my love language, he knows his love language. We took it last year when we were friends. We actually recently took it for this video because it does change. My love language is quality time and acts of service.
Just double check mine.
Yours is quality time and words of affirmation.
There we go, people. She knows. She knows. Yeah, it is quality time.
How do I remember yours before I remembered mine?
Right. I could tell you that those two were yours.
Look at that. We remember each other's, but not our own. So, and the second portion of that question is, how have you had to compromise if you did? The funny thing is, our love languages complements each other because our top is quality time. So we equally love spending time with each other. Like, there's never a dull moment. I'm never like with him and I'm bored.
Right.
And so we love being around each other. Like, we genuinely like each other's company. And my second one is acts of service. Yours is words of affirmation.
Right.
And what's crazy about it, and why we don't really have to make a compromise, is you're the older of like two siblings of both your parents.
Mm-hmm.
So you've always had to like step up and have that doer type of personality. So you've always done. You've always been doing. So acts of service is very easy for you, which is why it's very easy for him to compliment that second part of my love language. Words of affirmation is your second.
Right.
I grew up talking. I can chat, not just talk, but I have the gift of prophecy, which is exhortation, exhortation,
I went through it today.
encouragement, and comfort. I've been told I have a very good way of like encouraging people, and I love talking to people, encouraging people. So encouraging him is nothing hard for me. Like, I'm the type of person that will randomly be blowing you up. I love you, just like send you hearts out of nowhere. Like,
that is a fact. It is a fact. It could be, you know, I'm doing work from home and all of a sudden I get a text from Sam, I love you. I'm like, oh. But it's just
send it with the screaming effect.
right, just loud. Lots of emojis, whatever. Like, it's she really goes above and beyond. And then she also takes note. And for me, sometimes it's the littlest thing. And Sam will be like, I forgot to say thank you. And I'm like, like, it's fine. Like, I'm so used to just going and doing that, you know, hearing it from her, sometimes I forget, like, I did that. Like, oh.
You did that.
I did that.
Thailand, one of my OG subscribers, she's the reason I'm even back on YouTube. So Thailand asks, how are you guys sustaining your purity in a Christian relationship? Listen here.
It's tough.
Lord, thank you for the Holy Spirit, because without him, my paraclete, my help, the assistance, man, the reassurance. If honestly, if not for the Holy Spirit, did David see Bathsheba and call for her and sleep with her? David, a man after God's own heart,
Right.
saw somebody else's parts and wanted parts.
He wanted parts.
No, it's all jokes. He wanted all the parts. It was like, people there looking like, ooh, she thick. When I she fit that fit. Honestly, it's okay. Number one, we do not live together.
Right.
I think that's a fundamental way to keep, you know, celibacy, and it's not something we can do of our own. Simply because in our last relationships we were both sexually active, so it's not that we don't have a sexual, you know, bone in our body. It's not like you just turned off the zap, like just went out the window. But it's really through prayer. For me, I can talk for myself. It is through prayer, fasting, and I have an accountability partner who is also in a relationship, who also uses me as an accountability partner. Those are like the two big ways that help to maintain, sustain our purity.
Yeah, I'm gonna be quick. It is a tough thing. Hello, you see how gorgeous this woman is.
Oh my God.
But for us, I think prayer is one that definitely helps. You know, it recenters you. Reading your Bible, staying in it, being honest with each other about it, knowing your triggers.
Boundaries.
Yeah, knowing your triggers too. What can set you off. Just being careful, and if you know you set off, you run.
Hey man, the word said flee. No, seriously, honestly.
It does.
Like he will come over and like sometimes we're just chilling, but if I feel yeah, bye. I've actually like told him before, like, yo, nah, chill. It's not an easy thing. It's a journey. They call it a journey for a reason. God knows our heart and desire is to please him. And of course we're flesh. So there is that temptation. But it's truly learning self-control.
Yeah.
and is teaching us self-control. So those are the ways that we maintain our purity. Iconic entertainers, leave me alone. In the same vein, ask, how do you guys handle intimacy being a young couple?
Sure. For us, I think we take it beyond, people. Once again, we had mentioned earlier, people thinking about it being very physical.
Yeah.
We took it beyond that. I think we spend a lot of time together. We do it in different ways. We've gone to movies, different restaurants, parks, Dumbo. Just different things, and just finding different ways to spend time with each other. Just thinking about, okay, we want to do these experiences next. Just always thinking ahead, and then also just the regular time we spend together. We've gotten to this point where we don't necessarily have to go out to enjoy each other's company.
So true, especially because of COVID.
We can sit down and watch something. Literally just talk, have a conversation. The amount of times where Sam is going to say, "What you thinking about?" Conversation. But it's just finding different ways to really get to know the person and draw closer to them.
Yeah.
It doesn't always have to be physical. Never really, truly doesn't really have to be physical. But get to know the person you're with. And I think we take really great strides to do that.
When I think of intimacy, I was looking up the different types because I forgot them. But we handle all types of intimacy. So, physical intimacy, as most people know, and if you don't, as the notorious B.I.G. says, if you don't know, now you know. Physical intimacy is actually the lowest on the intimacy spectrum totem pole. So there is physical intimacy, sexual intimacy, emotional intimacy, aesthetic intimacy, affectional intimacy, social intimacy, intellectual intimacy, and spiritual intimacy. And we've tackled all of them. So the way in which we handle it is when we spend time together, it's purposeful, which is one of the reasons that I'm always in his head, because we're not just dating to date. Like, I want to know you, and that's how I grow. We grow to love each other because we are vulnerable with each other. The most important facets of intimacy is vulnerability. You cannot be intimate in any of these areas if you're not vulnerable. And one thing I found with him from Jump Street is I can be vulnerable. I mean, I was about to say full butt naked, but that's probably the wrong analogy for this type of conversation. But I can be full myself before him. I've cried before him. We've had really, really deep conversations. He's teared up before me as well. Yes, I'm putting you out there.
Real men cry.
We've had conversations where we try to find the root of things. So that's allowed us to bond on an emotional level. Like, I can be 100% vulnerable with him and know without a shadow of a doubt that you'll never do anything to harm me. My walls are completely down because we've established that emotional intimacy. Intellectual intimacy is there. We're both really smart. We both talk a lot. We both read a lot. So that's there as well. We're very compatible in terms of the things that we like to do, experience new things, traveling together, new adventures, things of that sort. So that's how we build our levels of intimacy,
right.
And making sure we hit on all of those parts. The physical intimacy, I wouldn't even say physical intimacy, but physical attraction is there.
Mm-hmm.
Physical intimacy, we'll tell you about that after the honeymoon.
Well said.
Marcus asked, biggest pet peeve about each other and how do you overcome/deal with it? This is so good because I love the balance. You should go first.
So, with Sam, so what I'm going to say here, I'm gonna preface with this. What I say here does not mean she is naggy. This is not anything negative about her. What I'm about to say is she has a thing where, like, we could be talking and we could have like a debate. And she will drag it. Right. I'm done with you on that one. Drag it so she can, like, get her point across and try to win it, pretty much. Because, who doesn't want to believe they're right? But that's really it. There's not really much to be, there's not really much. I don't
No other pet peeves? What? I don't annoy you?
No, at least not yet.
Okay. So my pet peeve is not even necessarily you. It's something that I hate that I even hate.
I know what it is.
My pet peeve is that when you choose, I can hear him when you choose.
Listen, I be having my mouth closed and everything.
It's just the sound. The sound just like, oh.
I got a strong
I just
drum.
don't like, you do. You do. And I feel so bad because I really hate the sound. There's actually a name for it. I hate the sound of like chewing. I hate the sound of people breathing. Like heavy breathing. I hate the sound of people dragging their feet. I hate the sound of people smacking their lips or smacking their mouth when they're chewing gum. It's just, and I wish I didn't hate it because I would just get over it. But that's my pet peeve. How I'm getting over it is just realizing that he can't change it because he really does close his mouth. Like I feel so bad because like he be chewing, and his mouth is closed. I'm like, but I can still hear you. So I'm like, I know it's nothing that you can do to avoid it. So I'm giving you grace.
I had a friend roast me in high school one time saying you can make mashed potatoes have a crunch to it, and
Yo, yes. That is great. Whoever said that, I need to give them $1.
it's Anthony probably.
I need to give him $1.
It's either Anthony or Rock.
Anthony, I need to give you $1. It's facts. So I'm not the only one. Just, oh, Jesus. So Gregory asked, who is your partner's celebrity crush and who do you wish it was? Well, originally your celebrity crush was Rihanna.
Yeah.
But I think it's faded over time.
It's faded over time.
I don't think you really have any right now. Let me know if I'm right.
Yeah. I don't really have a celebrity crush right now.
I have 3.
Whoa.
Let me see if you can name all 3 of them.
Well, Tom Hardy's the first one.
Oh yeah.
Tom Hardy's the first one.
Well, he's not the first. He's the second. First is a black man.
Dark bald.
None of them are bald. You know him.
Oh my goodness, he comes in all like he's that problematic relationship dude in all those movies. Is he?
No.
I'm thinking Michael Ealy.
Ew. I don't like Michael Ealy.
I'm thinking.
The
Let me
reason.
give you a hint.
Yeah.
They say this is a big rich town.
Oh my gosh,
Yeah.
Amari Hardwick. Yeah.
I just
She
come
love
from
ghosts.
the coldest part.
So wait,
Right
who's the?
side stealing. This one you don't know because you know his face, but you don't know Dean from Supernatural.
Oh
Dean
yeah,
Winchester.
Dean Winchester.
But you
I
got
remember.
Tom Hardy.
Tom Hardy.
I just like rough looking guys. But my ultimate crush
Well, you don't gotta gas me up
is
now.
sitting right
You don't gotta gas me
here.
up right now.
No, honestly, seriously, like not even lying. I mean, honestly, oh man, the Lord answered all of my prayers, even ones I didn't know I had. Because you're tall, dark, not dark, dark, handsome, full head of hair, beautiful smile, beautiful eyes, Aki. He's athletic, smart, money conscious, got a future for himself, credit score up here. I just want to thank God right quick. Hey! No, in all seriousness, like, yeah, it's great to have like celebrity crush and everything, but not even gonna lie, you are like my dream guy. Don't let them make your head any bigger though. Selena asked, what are 3 qualities you admire about one another?
Your heart. And that encapsulates a lot of things. Like she's thoughtful. For example, if you've seen the birthday video, my God, nobody's gone to that extent. She's just very conscious, very loving. Sam loves hard, and I love it.
I'm a hopeless romantic.
I am too.
Yes.
But she loves hard, and you know that anything she does, anything she says, especially concerning me, it comes from a place of love, and I appreciate that. And she's just multi-talented. I gotta give her props. The other day I saw her do, fix a part of her room, and I'm like, this is really nice. Like this is, I need to post this on my like IG page. Like she's,
Execute the vision.
I just see all the talents that she has, and I think she's capable of doing anything she wants to. Like anything she wants to. Ingo Productions is gonna take off. Clear that now.
I would say, okay, so 3 things. 1, I admire his patience. He has patience more than I do. That's an admirable trait. Your patience. I'm gonna be corny. I admire your heart as well, and how selfless you are. And I admire your humility, because that was a goal of mine too. Not saying I'm a very prideful person, but I really do admire how humble you are. And it's a trait that I wanted to grow in, and I'm growing in. So you inspired me there. Selena also asked, fun question, would you feel comfortable for your partner to go to a strip club alone or together? I think we agree on this one.
Nope.
No. No, because we don't go to strip clubs. Not just because we're Christians. Even when I wasn't serious about my walk with God, I just didn't find the meaning in strip clubs. I'm kind of frugal, so I'm not just gonna spend my money and there is nothing at the end of it. So I think it's futile.
Right. As a guy, I know a lot of dudes been to strip clubs, but for me, I've never been, and I don't plan to be. For me, it's like if I don't get anything, like I'm not getting anything out of it, I feel like it's a waste of time.
Thanks. Let's just get married and you throw dollar bills at me.
You said it first, now
more like $20.
Give me hundreds, trust me.
Hey.
But that to me, I think, you know, why do that with somebody I don't know?
Right.
And
you're sweaty and stuff.
We're not gonna talk about it.
Okay, so that answers that question. Our friend James asked, what is the biggest obstacle in a committed Christian relationship?
We really haven't had, and this just dropped in my spirit, outside influences, I think could really impact the Christian relationship. And I think, you know, I'm grateful that we don't have that, right?
Yeah.
Where we don't have a lot of people talking and chiming in and giving their 2 cents. The one thing that I really appreciate about my relationship with Sam is things are really private. Like things that we share certain things, but for the most part, what happens between us stays between us.
Yep.
And I think that's something that a lot of people can learn from, because the more people you get involved into your relationship, the worse it can become.
Too many voices make you schizophrenic.
Right. And then also you can start to end up entrusting people with information. Next thing you know, you didn't tell that to the person that really should have known that information.
Oh yeah.
You start overextending yourself. You start to try to build up an appearance rather than be genuine. And I do not want something that's false. I want something that's true to me, and I think it's true to me. And I would not want anybody to come in, and nobody wants people sowing seeds of
No
division.
haters in the camp.
Right. We're not about that.
No haters in the camp. That's exactly what I was gonna say, to be honest. Like, so you answered for both of us. Nia asked, how often do you both discuss goals or expectations of the relationship?
Not often. We talk about our goals. And I think we do it on a consistent basis.
Absolutely.
Right, but when it comes up to expectations, we don't really talk about expectations like that, because one, we don't really expect things from the other, but at the same time we step in. And I think the thing that I love about her is that she's very considerate. So I wouldn't have to say anything. Like if I'm needing help with something, she'll be there right there to pick me up.
Or if you need your time, I'm sensitive to the importance of your time as an individual, because though we're together, I understand you're also an individual as well. So
Right.
even though it's not a spoken expectation, because I'm considerate of him, I know that there's still, you know, as a man, has a job and everything, you know, he needs his time as well. So just be considerate of that.
Right. And just always think about her, right?
Yeah.
But in a relationship, you know, you have to be mindful in anything that you do or any move you make. You know, be considerate of the next person, right? You want to make sure that you understand how they feel and how they can, you know, benefit, or how something can negatively affect them. So
I think we're both very responsible people, and we both have really, really good communication skills.
right.
So I think that's what makes having expectations not such a high priority. because we're already so considerate. I think if there was a lack of something, that we'll definitely address it with the other. But no real expectations. I mean, we did kind of set expectations in terms of the trajectory of a relationship, meaning like this relationship is ending in marriage. The expectation is that, you know, we put God first. Like, those are the type of expectations. We put God first. We know where this relationship is ending. There's no pressure on him to propose. I know that's one of the questions. One of the questions was, when's Henry gonna propose? And you can answer that.
The plan.
Wait, I know he's gonna give a year. I thought he was gonna give the cliche, you know, when the Lord leads me or whatnot.
Well, here's the truth. Here's the truth. If I had my plan, right, if I had my desires, it'd be but the truth be told, you know, you never really know, right?
Yeah.
And with everything.
I don't think there's a rush either. No
Don't
rush.
rush. Slow touch.
You know, with her, I want to do everything right.
Yeah.
And that's what matters to me. I ain't
That will happen. Like we said, like, we do keep some things private. Like, we have had that conversation. Like, in terms of expectation, we have had conversations about like the engagement, wedding, kids, house, finances. We've had conversations like that. We've sat down and spoke with our pastors. So we're pretty open about that. So anything regarding like wedding and knowing when the time is right, just stay tuned.
Right. You'll get it.
It's not like it's not that I know anything as yet. It's just that I just know how we do things. Our good friend Amani asked, how did you meet? We already answered that. And tell us about your first date. Our first date was so amazing.
We went to the Brooklyn Museum
of Art.
Yes. I hadn't been there. That was the first time there, so that was perfect. First time for both of us.
It was first.
We then, I don't feel like it was the movie, but we got something to eat.
We went to the Thai place.
Oh, the art type place in Brooklyn.
Yeah.
Right by Barclays.
Oh, so good.
So we went there, and then we ventured out to Dumbo.
Yes. The funny thing is, our first date, we took pictures, and you would think that we were together for years. It's insane. And that day was very, very important to me because we took a bus from where we went to eat over to the movies. And I remember like just seeing the pictures. I'm like, I'll insert the picture here somewhere. But I remember seeing the picture and I'm like, oh my god, like I've never taken a picture with any exes and just look at them and be like, oh my god, we are like so perfect together. And I remember sending one of them to my mom, and my mom is very picky when it comes on to like guys for me. I sent the picture to my mom, and the one thing that my mom said to me was, and I share this with you too, she was like, my spirit approves. She has never to this day ever said that about anyone else. And she's also a spiritual person as well. So for her to say not just, oh y'all look cute together, for her to say my spirit approves, that was another confirmation as well from our first date that my mom, who was like my everything. So the fact that she approved, I'm like, oh wow, I was literally on the bus like, you don't understand how much this means because Miss Bev don't be approving nobody.
Well, listen, I was happy to get Miss Bev's stamp of approval.
Yeah.
That meant a lot for me.
And then we went to Dumbo. Yeah, it was great. Our first date was really, really great. We had such a good time. Like, leave it to us to be in an upscale museum, and we just cracking jokes and everything.
Bro, everything.
So that was our first date. And then our most memorable date was at Amani's wedding, which is where we have the photo that went kind of viral.
Right. We had to thank you guys for the perfect environment for that.
Yes, like that photo is actually what kind of sparked us doing this couples Q&A, because we think that there is so much to relationship goals and just looking good together, complimenting each other. For us, it's about purposeful relationships, which we'll definitely probably have another sit-down chat about another time. So that was our first date. Our good friend Kira.
Hey, what's up?
Where do you see yourselves in 3 to 5 years? Great question, because we definitely sat down this New Year's Day and spoke about that. So
3 to 5 years. I mean, you know what I hope for is what I see.
Wait, in 3 years, I'll be 28.
Right. I'll be 26.
Okay. /5 will be 30. I'll be 28.
Married. First property together. I want to say elevated, maybe. Let me speak it like this. Maybe her own business by then.
Oh yeah. More than one.
Right, like she's gonna be set. I think I'm gonna be more advanced in terms of my financial
portfolio.
Right, and I'm thinking, CFA, MBA type things.
Hey.
So that's what I see, and this one's gonna be funny.
No. Do not.
Maybe.
Do not.
Maybe.
3 to 5 years.
Maybe.
Bruh.
5 on that, hard on the 5. If you allow that.
If God allows it.
Bro, yes. Very much so. I could see it edging on the 5 though. She's like, nah, fam, I'm not with it.
You realize you never said what it was, right?
I think I can assume that they know what we're talking about. There's nothing in the world that a woman has to think twice about,
I think twice about everything. I think 4 times about everything. I'm talking about. I don't want to say it.
Why?
I don't know.
It's not taboo.
I know.
She's talking about having kids.
Not me, you.
I am.
3 to 5 years?
Maybe 1.
Maybe 1 year?
No, I'm saying 3 to 5 years. Maybe you have 1 kid.
They'll keep you updated on the offspring.
Right. She doesn't want a 10 pound 4 ounce.
His family's all big kids.
Alright, no more baby talk. She's already petrified.
I love the idea of children. Our child, I really don't like other people's kids. I don't. But it's just the reality of it all. Sometimes kind of like raising a whole human being. That's a big responsibility. But I do second everything you said about the goal. Within 3 to 5 years. I don't think I have anything to add. I do think maybe 2 cars by then.
Yeah.
Definitely still doing ministry. Not just my business, but our business together. We already have talks about that as well. So yeah, I hope that answers your question. Whew. We've gotten through all the questions. We have one last question. I love this question. This question is from Tiffany. Tiffany asked, what is something you've both learned about yourselves while being in this relationship together? And that is such a perfect, I kid you not, this is like the order. That was such a perfect question to end on. Honestly, no cap, honestly, that's really my biggest takeaway. I had to come to terms that I wasn't where I thought I was emotionally. There were still things I had to deal with and I had to unearth and relearn that I thought I kind of had it all together. There was a little bit of pride, so I had to learn humility as well. But I think my biggest takeaway is realizing that, I didn't have it all together.
I've learned a lot about myself, throughout our time together. I was struggling with my identity, I think. My identity being, who is Henry Morsella Jr.? That's something I really struggled with because it went from super responsible, have many hats, student athlete at Wesleyan University to, is he going to do ministry now? What is it? And so I needed to get deeper in God and deeper with my relationship, and that really, Sam really helped with that. You really pushed and you really tried to nurture that part of me. At the same time, I also knew that, I'm so used to being Superman. A lot of people who know me from college know I do a lot. And because I did a lot, I was always tired, perpetually tired. And I needed to get to a point where I had to come to terms that I am not Mr. Perfect. I can't do it all. I wasn't enabled to do all of it, right? And I think taking time for myself personally was something that I needed to do, but also coming to terms with my emotions, and understanding how I really feel. I was so used to putting away my emotions or putting away how I felt for the sake of others. And Sam really encouraged me to like say how you feel, and it's okay to feel this way.
Yeah.
And I think part of it, is rooted in toxic masculinity, where men, we feel like we're not allowed to feel certain types of ways, but that's another conversation. What I'm trying to get at is that there's a massive amount of growth that's taken place since meeting you, and you've really pushed me to those places. Yeah, that's all I'm gonna end on that.
Together, the biggest takeaway, and I think the biggest manifestation of this God's glory is really seeing how God can use two people to come together and all the stars really align in such a perfect way, and really shows what purposeful relationships look like. For me, it's important to see healthy, loving, selfless Christian Black love, and that's what I'm learning from this entire thing, is learning how to love and how to be loved. Yeah, so those are all the questions that we had. We went through all of them. Yay! Thank you guys so much for everyone that asked a question, contribute comments, whatever it is that you did. We appreciate it. We hope and also pray that this video is not just another cute couple to look at, but that you did take some pointers away from this, wherever you are on the dating spectrum, relationship spectrum. I hope and pray that you got something to take away from this. Once again, we aren't perfect. This is our relationship. This is what works for us, and we hope that this video was a blessing to you. I appreciate you guys for watching this very long video. I'm pretty sure it's going to be long after I edit it, but there's a lot of gems. Thank you guys so much, and I guess stay tuned for other couple videos.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Thank you guys so much, and we'll see you in the next one.
Take care.
Thank you so much for watching this video. Every view counts. If you haven't as yet, please go ahead and hit that subscribe button as well as the bell notification button so you know when I post another video. I really appreciate your support and hope to see you in the next video. Bye.